fruit and mind your business. Eat fruit and mind your business. Hey guys, it's your girl Kay, and welcome to another week's episode of Eat Fruit Pod. I am your girl Kay, blessed, highly favored, and I have a Black melanated queen here with me repping for the West Coast, Miss Nima Sky.
Hey, what's up, my beautiful girl? How you doing? Beautiful woman. Thank you for the intro. The intro was like, okay, like highly melanated. Okay.
Yes. Yes. I love it. So let the people know who you are, where you're repping, and you know, just what you're here to do.
Yes. Well, you already gave me a great intro, but if I can continue, I am Miss Nima Sky. I like to go by Miss Sky. I am a TV host. I've been in the media world for a long time, honey. I have a lot of different things that I do. I also have my own show. You know, your girl can beat some faces too. Look, don't get it twisted, okay? But no, I've been in media for about the last 4 or 5 years, and have my own platform on Black Hollywood Live, and I'm still doing my own thing on my own show, All the Talk with Nima Sky. But now I'm here with my girl Kay, and yeah. I'm on the West Coast, but you know, I was born in Louisiana and I was raised in Dallas, Texas. So I always say I'm a Dallas girl, you know, well, by way of Louisiana, however you want to say it. But I am definitely repping the West Coast. So all my South, my Southern, my Texas, Louisiana, and my West Coast people, what's up?
Shout out to my people from the South. I love that because I didn't know. I always picked up another accent. I know it wasn't fully LA. But I was like, okay, now that you're saying the Southern side, I'm like, makes sense.
Yes, honey. I
Miss
got
Sky.
the little twang. Yes, ma'am. Miss Sky.
So before we dive into fruit salad for this week, you know, I want to know, Nima, how has your week been? I know we've kind of been talking in and out and stuff, but like, how are you doing? How is your week? Anything interesting?
Yeah. My week has started off pretty good thus far. I mean, it just depends, like, because some people's week starts on Sunday and some people's week start on Monday.
That is
I
true.
mean, Sunday is always a day of rest. You know, I like to get it and all zen and, you know, highly meditated. You said melanated, but I'm saying highly meditated on Sundays. So my week started off well on Sunday and just, it kind of flowed in some of it. You know, normally Mondays are kind of like that day when you're back to the hustle, but I mean, it's actually been pretty smooth for me. So what about yourself?
It's as I was telling you earlier, it's been kind of crazy, but I'm happy that we made it to like today and everything. Sundays are about the same for me because it's like they say it's a weekend, but not really, because I feel like by Sunday I'm already prepping for Monday. You know what I mean? Getting everything together and just mentally prepared. You gotta go to your bed earlier if you gotta wake up early on Monday. So that's kind of how it was.
Food for the week.
Yeah.
You know?
I was getting over, you know, a lot of this commentary, but we'll get into it. So
listen, honey, the world is not trying to get us to stop that. I mean, like, we haven't even talked about Ukraine anymore. Like, you can't like Ukraine, Russia. We're not talking about gas prices anymore. The world is just focused on entertainment, honey, and I'm here for it.
Literally. So I want to say, you know, everyone, make sure you're following Nima Sky on social media, and we'll make sure to like add all your tags and everything visually so people can know to follow you and support you, because her show, All That Talk, literally is bomb. And
thank you.
You get like all your information. If you're short attention span, long attention span, whatever, you get the information you need from this queen right here. And you just have a way of like delivering it. And I love, you know, the presentation. You're always looking fly. So
thanks, boo.
Love that. And yeah, I think we just gotta get into fruit salad because there's a lot to discuss.
I love me some fruit, honey.
Fruit and mind your business. So we gonna start off like this, okay? Fruit salad for this week. Miss Monique has definitely, I feel like, gone through a lot of trials and tribulations when it came to certain people putting dirt on her name. And I've always loved Monique as as an individual and what she represents, despite what people would like to say about her marriage and her personal business. But just as a Black woman, even from back when I'd see her on, you know, BET, Comic View and stuff like that, she was a Black woman, I feel like always represented herself well. And she always spoke her truth, which I love that for us. Recently, Lee Daniels, I believe it was a comedy show or something of some sort. And Lee Daniels publicly, even though he admitted he privately apologized, but he publicly apologized to Monique for, you know, what their relationship had become and how things have gone. And also he let us know that she will be in the upcoming show that he's doing.
Yes.
So I don't know, what was it giving to you? What were your thoughts on it? Does it seem like authentic? Like, just what were your thoughts on it?
I mean, of course, I definitely feel like it was authentic. I feel like it is time for, you know, the tension to release, you know, concerning everything around Monique. First of all, we're talking about Lee Daniels. Let's give a shout out to 50 Cent, who was an absolute real one. He was actually the first person who took the opportunity to, you know, say, hey, you know, I mean, he spoke names, you know, because we all know 50 Cent, you know, 50 Cent is a real G. Okay. Yep. So, I mean, he came straight for the names, you know, he said Tyler Perry, he said Oprah, he said Lee Daniels, like, let's put an end to this. I mean, I really commend him for doing that because, of course, you know, 50's making his money. He has his platform. He has his relationships. He doesn't have to involve himself. But the fact that he did that, you know what I mean? He actually paved the way to open up a door for Monique. And then from there, you know, of course, Tyler Perry, you know, said he didn't have anything against her and he had some things going on for her. And then we see an announcement made that, you know, she was supposed to be in a new Netflix thriller with Lee Daniels, and then to see them apologize, I think it was honestly time for them to come together because, as he said on the stage, he's like, "Oh, well, you know, Monique used to, you know, be one of my best friends." You know what I mean? And so, you know, I feel like things happen. You know, I don't want to get into specifically like all the nasty aspects or whatever, because I don't really know, but I know that regardless of what happens in life, you know, we all make mistakes. We all do things, you know, I don't feel like you can never like cut somebody, you know, from speaking their voice. You know what I mean? Like if somebody has a truth about something, you know, like we live in America, you know, freedom of speech, you know, and some of us who don't live in America, you know, we still have the right to, you know, speak our voice and be able to speak our truth. And I, you know, I'm talking about 50 Cent being a G. I think that Monique is a G because, you know, it's like, regardless of what anybody thought about the situation, she stayed true. She held her ground. You know, she talked about God and, you know, and I mean, I am super happy for her. I'm ready to see her come back because first of all, I don't know about everybody else, but I mean, did we forget how funny Monique was? I mean, like Monique is a boss. Like, you know, she did Precious. I mean, how many different, you know, stand-ups that, you know, that like she's actually done. I mean, Monique has really paved the way for a lot of comedians, you know, who are actually coming up in the game now. So, you know, we need to, you know, regardless of what the situation may have been, you know, you have to give honor to whom honor is due. So I definitely feel like, you know, it was authentic, but I, you know, even though it may have been done in private, I felt like it needed to be done in public. Cause you know, honey, listen, you know how these social media streets are, you know how people get to talking. Okay. So, you know, I mean, I feel like Lee Daniels had to shut some mouths up. Okay. All right.
1000%.
I'm done with that.
And his slate isn't clean, you know, if we remember, if it was last year or the year before, Damon Dash like put him on blast and he was like, hey, I loaned you money to when you even had these productions, had I have not have let you a certain amount of money. So nobody's slate is clean, especially in Hollywood. And as I said, because Monique's opinions are very unique and very honest and true to herself, and it's maybe a lot of things that people are uncomfortable or scared to speak on because they're scared it may take away opportunities and things of that nature. They don't, you know? So that is something that I've always admired of her. And as well, I just love, like, I agree with like everything you said and just the levels of all of this, because 50 Cent is like chess, not checkers. 50 Cent is in a position where I don't think anyone publicly wants to be like, forget him right now. Stars,
you can't forget him.
He's building up that network. He's proven
absolutely.
his title and his space in the TV universe. And I'm really proud of him. I'm excited to see what he has coming as well. And to stand out on a limb and be like, no, Monique like deserves, and these are the names, these are the people. If this is who she's saying, has made it difficult for her to book some work, let's get it handled. Let's get it sorted. So
Yep.
I definitely appreciate that. And I'm happy to see how this comes. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Precious, I know unfortunately it was a lot of people's real stories or in different ways they can connect. When you think about movies like Antoine Fisher, and now I have Precious on that list, like it's not movies that I necessarily watch over and over again because it was just so deep.
It was very, 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 very deep. And I mean, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can be able to relate to it in many different ways, maybe even on a traumatic level, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, that's a part of the things that, some of us have gone through, you know what I mean? And we don't, we don't want to erase history, you know what I mean? Lee Daniels created this amazing film because he wanted to touch hearts, he wanted to touch minds, and he wanted to open eyes, you know what I mean, to the realistic view of like what I feel like a lot of times we deal with in the Black community whenever it comes to our homes, because of the things that, have been laid down upon generations, and how we handle, children and even each other. So, I think he did an amazing job. Monique, regardless, she will always be someone who held her ground in that role.
1000%. So, I love that.
That's all I got to say.
I love that. And moving forward, another woman that I feel like is learning to hold her ground and discovering herself more, because we're all young in the eyes of the Lord. At least we're all young, and we all have lessons to learn. I've never met someone, even the smartest of the smartest people, when you watch their interviews, ever say, okay, well, I know everything now. The journey is forever continuing, And Summer Walker, as we know, she is new to motherhood. And, we've publicly seen a lot of what she has been going through, and who even knows what she's been experiencing off camera. And recently she let it be known on social media that, she's no longer going to be sharing that adorable baby bubbles with us because of just the way people are leaving comments, the criticism, and just her dislike that she's that's really starting to become huge for her, for the industry. Do you falter for that? Do you agree? Like, how do you feel about it?
Absolutely not. I mean, you have to understand this is her baby, like this is her cub, and so as a mother or a parent in general, your first instinct is always to protect your child. You know what I mean? Like, her career and what she's doing in her life doesn't have anything to do with her, with her child, so she wants to be able to protect her child from that. And sometimes that's just what you call mental health. Sometimes in order to, allow, yourself to function in a capacity around people who, are going to be judgmental, or those opinions are going to be on blast all the time, you have to find a way to be able to be aware of knowing, okay, this is the limit of how much I can be able to take. You know what I mean? I don't think that that's bad. I mean, I feel like, regardless if you're doing good or, if you're doing bad, people are always going to have something to say. You know what I mean? Always. And whether she's a new mother, an old mother, or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't think that there's an instructional manual that comes with, oh, this is how you be, this is the instruction manual to being a mother. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody has been raised the way that they've been raised. People meet motherhood where they are. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I feel like, she's doing the best that she could do, but at the same time, for her mental health and as well as to be able to protect her child, I think that it's very necessary for her to get the cameras away from her, from her child, because she needs to cut that cord.
Yeah.
She just cut that influence.
No, I definitely agree. And you see a lot more celebrities taking that hint and following that. I don't want to say trend, but for lack of better words right now, I'll say trend, because out here is crazy. We seen how they talked about Blue when Beyonce, first let us into her life and her pregnancy, and since then, I would say Beyonce has become even way more reserved. Like, we get Rumi and Sir when we get them. we get blue when we get them. And I totally respect that because like you said, they're protecting their cub. And we've seen a lot, as I said, of the disrespect. And though we may connect with it through her music, she doesn't necessarily have to give us all aspects of her life. She deserves to protect the parts that she wants and let us into the parts that she wants us to see, you know? And as I said, I'm very happy. It seems like she's finding her voice more and finding her footing because everyone has to learn how to maneuver through the industry, especially the music industry. There's no handbook to it. It's ever changing, ever growing, but there's certain things that stay solid. And I feel like one of those things that stays solid is as long as you know yourself and you have a really amazing circle around you or core around you, we see those artists where we can kind of tell, oh, how do they remain so grounded and things like that throughout the years. And I feel like that's something that adds to that, you know? So I don't blame her for saying, well, no more bubbles for y'all because you don't know how to act. And especially when, you know, the child's father is kind of out here whiling, it leaves it up to scrutiny. And one of the things that I've always respected with Summer Walker, you know, being a female, that I've had to work for mine. You know what I mean? There were no handouts. There were no, oh, let's come and some rich guy whisk me away and life is all better. I've had to work maybe 2 or 3 jobs at a time. And I remember when Summer Walker was first introduced to us, she had her own cleaning business. I think at one point she was, you know, stripping and getting her hustle on as well. But I'll never forget that picture, especially that she had with the yellow gloves, like, with all of her cleaning equipment. I'm like, I love this. She literally created her own business, put her pride aside just so that she could pay for studio time and things of that nature. So whatever judgments people want to send out to her, I hope you're perfect.
Nobody's perfect, you know, at the end of the day. Exactly. And I mean, you know, the thing about when celebrities' lives are put in the limelight, you know, they don't have the opportunity, you know what I'm saying, to deal with life, you know, in privacy. They have to deal with it in public, you know, and unfortunately sometimes, you know, it just doesn't allow people the opportunity to be human. You know, nobody's perfect. You know, and I think the problem is that sometimes we tend to put these people on a pedestal and we forget that they're just like me and you. The only difference is maybe their status and their money. And sometimes it's not necessarily that. But at the end of the day, it's like you have to allow people to process life in their way. As long as they ain't, you know, trying to like knock somebody else down, you know, it's just like nobody's perfect, you know, like, give your opinion. But at the end of the day, it's like, I can't cast a stone because I got stuff, you know, that I'm dealing with. You know what I mean?
1000%.
So I 100% commend Summer Walker for taking that step as a mother and protecting her child and her mental health, honey. Do your thing.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Do your thing. And another, you know, melanated queen. Oh, no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just like what Braxton used to say. What you say? Used to live your life. Live your life. That's what it is. Live your life. I think that's what she used to say, y'all. I don't know, but
live your life. Well, I like that anyways because I feel like I used to say that as well. Live your life. Okay. We only get one, and it's like we go through this journey. I'm not about to be going through it. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. You do what you want, no matter what people have to say. As long as you within are happy and comfortable with yourself, and you can look within the mirror at the end of the day.
Absolutely, honey.
Yeah. So another highly melanated queen that I do love over the years and still do, my Libra sister, Ashanti. She is being inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And in my opinion, well-deserved. Well-deserved. I will say, you know, a lot of people, they try and play with Ashanti, even from the beginning, you know, with her sideburns, anything they could find, they always tried to play with this queen, you know, but what I've seen is a woman that she came up a certain way, Murder Inc., all of that environment, and she's found a way to diversify her business and keep her name relevant throughout the years, you know? She's not only, I know people like to promote only one aspect of her life, but she's also, if people do, you know, do their Googles and research, she's done a lot in the film industry. She's won lots of high pristine awards at a lot of these like film TV and film weekends, you know, some of them that they'll have
Film
out.
festivals.
Film festivals, thank you.
I
And
got you.
she's really like out here doing her thing, and not only in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well. I think I recently seen an announcement. She's really getting into Web3 and NFTs and building, you know, a core in that sense. And I just, in my opinion, it's the music, yes, because when I'm in my bag, I still need to listen to some Rain on Me and all the things. But I am very proud of this queen. What were your thoughts on, you know, Ashanti in 2022 being inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
Like you just said, I think it's absolutely well deserved. I mean, Ashanti has been in the game for a long time. I mean, being in the music industry and being in the music industry this long and still being relevant, I think that, you know, like I commend her, you know what I mean? Because everybody doesn't, you know, come back strong. But, you know, I know that, you know, she was dealing with a lot of issues with trying to get her deals kind of sorted out, you know, because the deal that, you know, she currently had didn't really give her the freedom that, you know, she wanted. And I really commend her as being a woman in this music industry, as long as, you know, she has, you know, taking her right and saying, hey, okay, I am a star. I have all these, you know, these songs that I've done. Let me get my right to be able to be free, you know what I mean? And be able to be a woman that, you know, where I can have the rights and the ownership, you know, to my things. So, I mean, I think it's very, very well deserved. I mean, you know, we didn't see Ashanti for a long time. Of course, you know, she was probably, well, it's not that we didn't see her, you know, she was of course still performing, but you know, she's made a stronger presence, you know, and I mean, to me, she's already been a star, honey. 1,000%. So people are just choosing to, you know, put it on a larger platform and say, okay, now she gets a star, but she's always been a star in my eyes. So 1,000%. I love Ashanti, you know, she's very classy, you know, she's very elegant. And I remember watching an interview that she did on The Breakfast Club, and, you know, she kind of talked about the things that, you know, she had to do with, you know, Murder Inc. And she held herself like a queen, you know, like a lady, you know what I mean? I mean, girl, because listen, like sometimes, you know, dealing with people in the industry, like it's hard not to go low, you know what I mean? But girl, she stayed high, you know, and so I have to commend her for that. And so I am so happy for her to be able to receive this star publicly. But Ashanti, honey, you've always been a star in my eyes. So hey,
1,000%. Especially we think about the era, right? Early 2000s. That was survival of the fittest. These are times Superhead, like video R&B vixens were at an all-time high.
Yes.
All of those things. And it was like, yes, the industry is still misogynistic, but it was way misogynistic in those late 90s, like the whole thing. So it's just like for her, as I said, to come out as high as she did, I love the way that you put it. I'm going to give her respect for that, because queens like herself, Maya, like there's so many queens I can mention, and ones that I can mention that we haven't heard from since then. So we know how hard it is, especially being, even though we're on the media side of things, to keep yourself relevant, keep yourself tainted. And though there may be a lot of situations that we could speak on, or, you know, we see someone out there being very public about things and we're like, that is not what happened. But, you know, they go low, we go high, as difficult as it may be at times. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ashanti, congratulations on this Star of Fame, Walk of Fame.
So another woman that I feel like this is long overdue, but I'm gonna get into my rant. Deborah Cox, you know, I'm going crazy. And what else she give us? Nobody's supposed to be here. Okay.
Yes, girl.
Deborah Cox.
Let you do the vocals.
No, I don't want to break the people's eardrums. But Deborah Cox is also
you know,
being...
I do have a little bit, but you know.
No, you definitely got more than you're pushing on. We gon'. So
therefore, another day, not today.
Another day.
But Deborah range is on a different level.
Another level, okay? I'm just a karaoke singer. But Deborah Cox is being inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. And
Yes.
while I'm celebrating her, I can't help but feel a little bit of bitterness that this is way overdue.
Absolutely.
Why I say that is because, you know, I'm on the Canadian side, even though I'm heavily indulged into the American culture and everything, because that's the majority of the industry. But I do find in the Canadian realm of music, you know, as I don't know for you, but like growing up, even like as a Black person, it's always been taught to me to be like, you know, certain individuals have to just show up versus
Right.
me as a young Black girl, I gotta go like 10 times harder than them just to prove I'm right where they're at, even though we're like way qualified. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
Overqualified.
Deborah Cox is one of those, yeah. And Deborah Cox is one of those Canadian women that she made it, like transcended borders, had hits, and held her, like as you said about Ashanti, held herself high despite what was going on. And never once do I even recall her coming out or being bitter about anything or saying, y'all need to put some respect on my name. But I'm gonna say it for you, Miss Deborah Cox. They're finally putting some respect on your name because Canada acts like it's only Celine Dion and Justin Bieber and certain individuals, not no shade, no tea, but Deborah Cox, I feel like is one of those people that also paved the way, especially for Black music. Um, so congratulations to you, Queen. What were your
Yes.
thoughts on, you know, Miss Deborah Cox? Because you're on the other side of the border.
I mean, yeah, Deborah Cox has really contributed a lot to the R&B genre and just music in general. You know, again, like I say, you know, we wouldn't have the artists that we have today if it wasn't for, you know, someone like Deborah Cox, you know, and she's always, you know, I mean, and we're talking about her as music, you know, but she's an actress. I mean, she's done Broadway. Like there are so many different things. There's so many different levels that, I mean, she's basically like put herself on and just like accomplished, you know, in her career. So, of course it is definitely well deserved, but I think that honestly, a lot of times we have to learn how to honor, you know, ourselves. And, you know, even before, you know, we're honored by other people, I think that Deborah has always held her own, you know what I mean? And so even though, yeah, of course she is receiving this award, and of course it is definitely well overdue, I think that at some point your talent is going to speak for itself. People are not going to be able to deny it. They're, you know, they're just going to have to honor you. So I'm so glad that she's getting this opportunity, you know what I'm saying, to be able to be honored, because there's so many things that, you know, she's done. I mean, yeah, we're talking about music, but there's so many different other, you know, avenues that like she's going into, the acting world and, you know, so many things. But I think that now this is a time for her, you know, to be able to come out, you know, and get recognized, you know, in the Hall of Fame. But of course, I want to be able to, you know, honestly, I would love to see a lot of the 90s R&B people come out, you know, like back out with music. And it's not that, because a lot of people say that R&B is dead. I don't think that R&B is dead. I think that R&B has evolved from the tradition of what we've known it to be. And of course it's different. And you know, of course, it's, you know, as an artist, it's always good to, you know, to express yourself. But Deborah Cox is definitely one of those pioneers, you know what I mean? And I mean, I think for me, she was probably one of the first Canadian singers that I ever knew about that was Black. You know what I'm saying? Well, hold on. Is Heather Headley?
I believe, let me just quickly fact check.
Okay, wait a minute
because
in
my mind was my shit.
I don't want to speak, you know, too fast, but yeah, Deborah, I am super happy for her. And again, she's like one of those trailblazers that I feel, you know, who's kind of paved the way.
She's actually Trinidadian American.
Okay. Well, listen.
Shout out to Trinidad.
Shout out to Trinidad. Like I wasn't for sure. Again, like I said, child, please don't quote me.
Oh, no. But it's good to know. It's good to know.
But yes, Deborah Cox, she has definitely deserved her crown and deserve her star.
Yes, I'm 1000% with that. And I love as more Canadian artists are starting to get more recognition on the scene because of these.
Has Drake got recognition yet?
Well, he got I remember MTV Awards gave him Artist of the Decade.
I'm talking about in Canada.
No, he has not gotten this award yet, as far
Yeah.
as I know, but
So
he
I was
deserves all the
wondering.
things as well. Drake definitely
See?
deserves all the things. And it's not a dick writing thing, it's just he's that talented. And you got to put some respect on his name, because even for me as a Canadian, he's opened a lot of doors that I know I possibly would not have ever gotten into had he have not made that spotlight on us and show that, whoa, so much more may be going on in this continent more than we realize.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He
And
always puts Toronto on the map, honey.
always. So running through the six with my woes. Okay.
Damn.
So City Girls came with, in my opinion, a banger, a very caption heavy track featuring Fabio Foreign, titled Top Notch. You gotta pay for this, JT. Let it go. I will say I like the record. It's definitely something I can like play when I'm getting ready to go out somewhere, or you just want to catch a vibe real quick, something up tempo and energy. I do see that the drill sound is really gaining more of a respect, as opposed to maybe the stigma that it had before when they tried to make it all about like violence, when I feel like the art of drill music there's so much more to it than just that.
Right.
So I want to say the video was amazing. I love the colorization. I'm a huge nerd, so I'm looking at that. I love the outfits, makeup was on point. And I wanted to also say shout outs to Fabio Foreign. When we watch these artists coming up and, we're starting to look at their career as opposed to the singles they're putting out, I feel like he's really gearing up and shaping up to solidify his space. And in a time where we've had to say a lot of RIPs to a lot of like, artists in Fabio Foreign's type of genre, I'm happy that he's still here and we're able to see him flourish and move up and enjoy his time in the music industry. RIP Pop Smoke. I really feel like, those are people where their time was definitely cut short, just at a time when things were like really, we didn't get to see them
Hectic.
enjoy the fruits of their
Crazy.
labor. Yeah. What were your thoughts on the City Girls, Fabio Foreign collab and video?
Listen, anything that City Girls do, they're always gonna bring the power, honey. I love those girls just because like they're so outspoken and they're so strong, in their conviction of who they are as women, and just understanding, like it's okay for us to show up and show out and direct and have that authority to say, hey, look, this is what we are going to put up with. This is what we're not going to put up with. And of course, like when it comes to the aesthetics of like, the videos and the things that do, like the colors and everything, I mean, it's always amazing, I mean, I feel like, and even though we're talking about City Girls, we go back to like Lil' Kim and Nicki, like, all Cardi, you know what I mean? Like, even Meg, I feel like all these women bring so many different like variations of color and just personality and character to whatever it is that they actually produce and put out. So, City Girls are, definitely repping. And I just love like the collaboration, you know what I mean? Like when you put two artists together and just make a bomb video, because back in the day, I mean, that's what we live for. I mean, yeah, like we love the songs, but we couldn't wait to see the video.
See the video.
To get like the dance steps and everything. And so like I feel like maybe we kind of strayed away from that.
Yeah.
But City Girls, artists like City Girls always get us back to be like, okay, listen, honey, we're gonna have to learn this little 1, 2, 3 step, okay? Because you have to go out, or
boom, cat,
just like
cat,
spend time with the girls, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I love it. I'm here for everything.
And just to piggyback on that point you brought, because that's also very important. I'm a huge music nerd, so it's definitely something that, sorry in advance, Dima, we will be talking about and diving into that stuff. But when you think about, shout outs to Chic and, oh, my apologies, the two gentlemen that, were responsible for doing a lot of Kanye's visuals in the early years. Right?
Yes, Cootie,
thank you.
Yes.
Chic and Cootie, or Cootie and Chic. And we think of Hype Williams, or, shout outs to our Canadian legend, Director X. We have more recent people coming up like Jordan Oram, who did Drake's God's Plan video. Like the video aspect, especially why we love things like 106 and Park and things like that, it was very important. Like at one point, I guess because social media wasn't so heavy, those visuals were all we had. You know, we couldn't wait to see the video, whether it was R&B, hip hop, rock, whatever, to be like, okay, I can't wait to see what they bring, what they give. So
absolutely,
I like the way that you spoke about, like, you know, just the sound of R&B evolving. I feel like videos as well, it's definitely evolving, and people are using a lot more of the technology that we're seeing being built into the world, into their visuals, but still kind of like remaining true to this art and craft. So I'm excited to see, because even the other day, I seen this thing on Twitter. It was like Nike put out a 3D ad, and it was like a billboard, so random, but it was like a billboard, and like just seeing, you know, you're on the road and like it looks like the sneakers coming at you, and you're like, oh, this is like crazy. And when you remember, we would have to wear those like blue and red glasses in the movie theater
3D,
to see 3D, you know, now you could just
do that anymore.
So technology is definitely evolving. Yeah. And I love to see how people in the music industry just intertwine the two and make something spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, like the NFTs, the metaverse, a lot of these things are being created and they're moving at a very fast pace, you know, and I feel like now's the time for us to get on it. I mean, I feel like after a while, like TV is not even going to be TV anymore, you know? But I think it's always cool when an artist uses like a new, like, well, paves the way for like a new avenue, you know, you know, for people to be able to appreciate technology or music or art in some form. So again, I'm out here for the trendsetters.
Same.
And that's pretty much what they did.
1000%. I love that. So now the Grammys, you know, just happened Sunday, and we could go over some things. What do you want to start with? Outfits?
Whew. Outfits are always amazing. First of all, let's give it out for Silks. Let's give it out for Anderson .Paak with the wig. Anderson
laid, honey, laid.
Wig, okay? I mean, he had me thinking about Ike and What's Love Got to Do with It.
Yes.
He had me thinking about like, I mean, I can give you a list of names of people. I mean, he was funkadelic. He brought all of them together. Okay, I absolutely loved it, and of course Bruno's just Bruno. Like, Bruno's gonna just show up as himself. You know what I mean? Like he's just everything. But I mean, the fashion was amazing. Of course, Gabby. I call her Gabby, but she always looks amazing. Yeah. I'm super proud of Jasmine Sullivan. She looks so great. Amazing. Yeah, the fashion is always amazing. Like, everybody always, well, not everybody, but I mean, not to really like cramp on anybody's style. Mind your business. But you know,
let them live today. I'm gonna let them live.
Everybody has their own style, but I think for me, I mean, of course, everybody looked beautiful, but Silk Sonic just killed it.
I really loved Doja Cat's many outfits, but I loved like her red carpet look, that minty blue green. Yes. Like,
let's give it up for SZA that came with the crutches.
Now it's come out that her ankle's actually broken. It's not even sprained. Broken.
Listen, I know all about that life, honey, because
I remember.
I tore my ligament. Yes, I tore a ligament in my right ankle, and I'm actually still pushing through. Thank you, Lord. So, I mean, but she still looks beautiful. She still looks very good, you know. And I commend her. Yes, Doja. How can I forget Doja Cat? Doja always comes with it. I feel like every award show, she has some different type of theme. Yes. She reminds me so much of Lady Gaga, and you know, just
but not copying her, just like the aura.
Just like the aesthetics and like the passion that she puts behind everything that she creates, you know, with her outfits and her costume and her makeup and her hair. Like her whole team is absolutely fire. And I think that, you know, she is definitely she's emerging as a new artist that's giving us the old and the new and herself,
Yes.
you know, all as one.
Yes.
So shout out to Doja Cat for killing it. Shout out to SZA for showing up. I mean, even though her ankle was broken, I still loved her dress. Her dress was really pretty.
It
It
was
was kind
very
of,
pretty.
I love the material and like the roses. But of course, I feel like SZA always kind of takes us on a journey of like, you know, her different outfits. I feel like it's
Yeah.
always a thing too. Just very much so like Doja Cat. You know, you never know
Yeah.
what you're gonna get. So
Before we move on from Doja, you know, I also want to shout out to her winning her first ever, you know,
oof,
Grammy,
yes.
and just seeing her get super emotional. I feel like, especially because of everything she goes through. And to me, like, Doja Cat has been putting in the work since the day
Yes.
she had me at Moo. I don't care what the rest of y'all say. From she came out, that was for me, her coming out. That Moo track, Moo, get on the woo, like woo, she had me. So
Oh, she's fire.
she's fire, and she's been putting out amazing records and features, and I feel like she has not wasted a song. So seeing her cry or break down on stage, I really felt it for her, especially with what we were seeing in the media when they were she was, you know, alluding to quitting, and I was like, girl, please, you're having an emotional day, maybe, you
You
know,
know
but
what?
none of that, none of that. You're
I
too
know
talented.
that, yes, she's, you know what, but I mean, I feel like all of these artists, because I don't want to veer off into a different conversation, but I feel like a lot of the artists, you know, like they go through so many different things and pressure that we wouldn't even understand. And
Yeah.
speaking of pressure, I do want to talk about Chloe Bailey, because let me tell you,
Ooh.
Chloe Bailey has been killing it for a while now, and her sister like showed out. But Chloe, listen, I love the fact that Chloe was so like vulnerable with us and told us, you know, like the body issues that, you know, she had. And I'm like, body issues? I'm like, what? Her body is amazing. Like she looks good. And I feel like she has really gotten into who she is as an artist, as a woman.
Yes.
And I love to see everything that she puts together, from her hair to her makeup, like her style. You know, she just has this fire about her. And so her outfit, well, all of her outfits, because she had one for the red carpet and she also had one, you know, during the award show. But she just looked beautiful. So shout out to Chloe for just standing in your truth and your authenticity, honey. Love it.
And it's like, even though she has dreads, she styles it so epically, if that's even a word. Like every time, like
epic is always the word. What do you mean?
I said epically though. I'm like, I don't know if that's going, but we gonna
it's a
use
word
it today.
today.
It's a word today, right? But like, you know, as Black women, finding the textures of extensions and stuff that kind of like match her hair or go with her hair, or what does it, you know, look out of place. And I just love like the Afrocentric vibes she's given, and she came slayed. Like she was giving me a vibe of like 70s, 80s glam, like Diana Ross feel with 2022. That's the vibe I was getting, and I was just like loving all of it. And shout outs to Yvette Enclosure, you know, she's an OG in this game when it comes to Destiny's Child and Beyonce. And even Kelly recently spoke on a clip saying, you know, there's plenty of times I want to take off them heels, girl, but, or she would say child. But Yvette would be like, you better not, you better grit and bear it. So like you said, there's a lot that especially the females go through just to give us the finished product of what we see. And I'm appreciative, so appreciative of it. Tiffany Haddish was another highlight for me.
Wait a minute. I forgot. Tiffany, listen.
She ready.
First of all, Tiffany is more than ready. Tiffany declared that she was going to be the first female fashion like she told us, I'm about to come out and let you guys know that I'm about to be the first woman comedian, woman in the game, who's going to just take this fashion to a whole nother level. I remember like recently, I think it was this year, or not, at the end of last year, honey, she did a performance at the Laugh Factory. And girl, she had on like a gown. I was like, Tiffany. So I mean, Tiffany is constantly killing. I mean, like a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week, honey? She had to check one girl who said, "I love your costume."
Costume
First
change.
of all, honey, excuse me, hold on now. This is not a costume. Okay. This is actually an outfit that I bought. Okay. We are not really ready for what Tiffany is getting ready to do with this fashion,
Yes.
honey. She is making a statement and I am here for every bit of it. She always comes out and gives it to us. So
Yeah.
the next award show, the next show she has, whatever she's doing, honey, we know that she's gonna kill it. So,
And, you know, we seen what was happening in the media and how she had gotten arrested, you know, for the DUI and things like that. So anytime I'm able to see her just looking, you know, highly melanated, it's I'm happy to see her, you know, doing well, even if it was for that one night, whatever. I'm happy to see her, to look at her and to be like, yes, 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 yes. The finger
she's
waves,
definitely setting the
yes.
standard. Tiffany is
1000%.
setting the standard, and I love it.
1000%. Um, yeah, there were some other people that I will say they did, you know, a great job. I always love how Billy Porter comes through. He don't ever come to
Yes.
play. Jasmine, like you said, Lil Nas X was in his bag. He did not come to play either. And, you know, shout outs to everyone because to go through the whole, you know, red
Yes, a
carpet,
lot.
but those are definitely some of our highlights. In terms of awards, you know, Jasmine Sullivan, she did win Best R&B album, well deserved.
Well
Hotels,
deserved. Well deserved. Well
Ministry.
deserved. Okay. Listen, honey, she is speaking the language of women in general and
Yes.
what we go through in relationships and relationships and how we give and how we love and how we accept things that sometimes we shouldn't. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And we understand how to take our power and use it to get what we want. You know what I
1000%.
mean? So I mean,
1000%.
shout out to Jasmine. I know, like, she was going through some, some things with,
Yeah.
her family and everything, but I
Mhm.
mean, she came out, she stayed strong and I feel like she gave us a good little girls' night out, good little girls' talk, break up in between a situationship, getting out of a situationship, married, not married, single,
Yes.
she gave us every element that I feel like as women, I feel like it doesn't matter what race you are, like what back. I feel like every woman can listen to this album and they can be able to pull something from it,
1000%.
So I 100% commend her. And then I mean, I did hear it. Well, I do remember that she had made a statement on Twitter saying that she just wanted Issa Rae to, like, work with her on doing a short story for Hotels.
Yeah.
And I'm
That
still
would be
waiting on that,
fire.
honey, because
Yeah. I'm
it's
there.
going to be fire. And listen, I bet you they're already working on it. We don't even know.
1000%. Issa
So
Rae will do
hey,
that to us and just pop out and be like, well, hee hee.
yes, she will. I love Issa.
I do as well. And, you know, speaking of, and she's another one, she definitely, as I said, from Bust the Windows Out Your Car, not that that was her first record, but I say like first hit. And to now, she's definitely held her head down and grinded and put in that work. And, you know, she sings live, honey. The voice is real. It's not
Yeah.
automated. And I feel like in these times, it's sad to say, but that's something rare, you know? So I'm definitely appreciative of the artists that are still able to, you know, hold them
Be
notes.
authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, dance hall, I am part Jamaican, so I am gonna discuss, you know, briefly this topic. And it is unfortunate for one, they still don't televise the reggae dance hall category, which it does peeve me because as I said, there would be no hip hop without dancehall reggae. So that is one point. Number two, you know, a lot of great people were nominated this year in that category. But I feel like Soja won, which dope. I get it. Numbers, all the politics that go on with Grammys. I could see why they had come to win. But I feel like this year should have been Spice's year. And I say that because just seeing where she's come from in
Mm-hmm.
dancehall to breaking through in the American industry now to getting her name world famous as opposed to just like Caribbean famous. And we've only seen a certain few of artists do that, like Bob Marley, Sean Paul, Shaggy, Beanie Man. But you know, for me, Spice really represents a lot of the women out there, the bootylicious, dark-skinned women. And she's authentic and she's herself. And, people will always post the viral clips of her, like, jumping off the speakers and, dancing and doing the whole thing. But the message of a lot of what she brings as well, it's very important. She speaks on the bleaching epidemic, and it is an epidemic that is going on in the Caribbean, and embracing your dark skin. And it's just like, I can't help but feel like when we're embracing things like that, then women have to go through the longer route, like Jasmine Sullivan, to finally get the recognition they deserve. So I want to say, Spice, you still won the Grammy in my eyes.
Yes, of course.
You made it there. And to see where she's come from, one of my favorite dancehall tracks, Fight Over Man. Me's a girl, me not fight over man. From a little bit of just summertime to literally being on the Grammy red carpet, like, that was huge. So I don't want her to feel too down about it. And the fact that people were even like speaking up about, them feeling like she got robbed, it shows that she has been putting in that work, in my opinion. Do you listen to like dancehall reggae at all?
You know what? I do. I listen to a lot of dancehall reggae, and
Hey.
I think that
I'll give
she's
you
an
one of
amazing
these.
artist. And again, like I always like to say, the Grammys is a very sensitive time for artists, and I know that every artist, even though we know that everybody's a winner, somebody wants to win that category, I'm saying, to be able to say, hey, like, all of my hard work has definitely paid off. But at the end of the day, I think that, sometimes it may take time for, that person to win that award. But I mean, all of the work that she's done, has not been unnoticed, in the community, like her voice, like what she stands for, and I just feel like sometimes it just takes that right moment. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just have to do things to kind of like break in the sand. And then like once you're there, like you're digging. And then eventually that moment, that's when the light shines. You know what I'm saying? So, even though, she didn't win, I think it's a great opportunity for her to even be in the nomination. Like a nomination to me is just as good as an award. You know what I mean? It's still, so that already, kind of like rewards her in a space, in a space to say, hey, like you are already kind of, given that platform of opportunity to be able to be nominated with somebody that actually won. But still, like the nomination, like now
it's still heavy. You can be like,
you're gonna have to add that to her
nominated.
title. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna have to add the title to her name, honey. So what?
1,000%.
What are we talking about?
I love that. So moving forward, we will wrap up with this ongoing commentary and opinions of the Oscars.
Uh-oh.
You're fine. Of the Oscars and the slap, as people are referring to it now. And I'm over it, girl.
I think, what, to be honest with you, I think,
but I do want you to give your opinion on like what you thought, because we weren't able to speak about it, last week at the height of everything. So definitely I want you to have the space to give maybe your thoughts, if you choose, on the whole ordeal.
Number one, I do think that it is being like drawn out for a long period of time for the reasons why I won't necessarily address that, because I have several different opinions of that. Because I just don't feel like, okay, it should be drawn out this long. But I think that there are two sides to every story. And I think that the story that the people have decided to see or take, is based on what we see, whether you feel like Will was wrong or he was right, or whether Chris was wrong or whoever was wrong. I think at the end of the day, these are two men who felt, in their own space, you know what I mean? They had a right to, my thing is that I don't think it's ever a space for me to say whether I think what somebody did is right or wrong. I do think that there is something that can cause reactions. I do think that, even though, people have certain platforms, I do think that it is very crucial to understand the power of sometimes the things that you say and the things that you do. But I think at the end of the day, the moral of the story is this is a man who was really trying to protect his wife. And I think that Chris was someone who made a comment in regards to Jada, and maybe he didn't mean it that way, but maybe there was some other layers, you know what I mean, to the situation that may have caused him to explode in that space. Number one, I can't tell a man, you know, how to or how not to defend his wife. I think 1000%. For me, the biggest thing is that we don't see that many examples of Black men taking up for Black women. That's what I want to say about the whole situation. And we're going to talk about it, especially in the Black community or whatever community you live in or whatever you're doing. I 100% love the way that, I mean, even though people say it's violence, he did this and that, and I get that. But I don't really see a lot of Black men out here taking up for their Black women. Like, I see them honoring them.
1000%.
You know what I mean?
1000%.
But I think that there are more layers to the situation, and I think that, you know, also too, like, as a comedian, I'm not a comedian. I have a lot of friends who are comedians, and you know, from the perspective of what they discuss is that even though a lot of times, like, when you are talking about certain things as a comedian, you have to be very sensitive to who you're speaking directly to. Now it's the difference, like, when you're speaking about, like, a specific topic, you know what I mean? Like, or like obesity, or, you know, like, you know, talking about, you know, women with long hair, or, you know, women with afros. But, like, if you pinpoint someone directly, that could be taken a different way. You know what I mean? Like, we've even seen that in Nutty Professor, you know, like when he was talking about the professor, you know, in the crowd, and how, I mean, regardless of, even if everybody was laughing, he felt completely traumatized by that, you know, and like and I, now that I'm trying to make up a story, I don't even know where this even came from. Like, it literally just popped into my memory. But I mean, you can see all the trauma that this man went through. And the crazy thing is, damn, Jada was in a damn movie. Okay, that's a whole different situation. But I mean, but the thing, you know, is I feel like there's so many. Everybody has to take responsibility in their part to play in the situation. My thing is, I don't think that I should be able to tell somebody how they should or shouldn't handle something. I don't think that Will, personally me, I don't think that Will was going to, like, destroy the whole Oscars. And, like,
as Black people, we know that.
I don't think
we know that.
Right. Like, I don't think that he was going to, like, you know, get a gun and shoot everybody. I don't think it was really that dramatic as I feel like people made it out to seem. I think that in that moment, he drew the line. Yeah. And also too, he even made a statement to say when he got on stage, he was in tears. I don't think he was in tears because of what he did. I think he was in tears because he realized that he reached a level. And he said, a lot of times we laugh and we smile things off when we feel like we're being abused or punched. I mean, let's even talk about his book where he talked about the story of how he saw his father beat his mom and he was inches away from her and he didn't do anything. And that always made him feel like a coward. Triggered. And he told himself that he would never, if anything was to happen, you know, in the future, he was always going to stand up. So even in that moment, whenever he stood up for Jada, I personally, it's my, honey, I got the floor. It's my opinion. I'm speaking. I really feel like he somewhere went back to that place. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Of that situation that happened in his life. Because even though we may take therapy, you know, we go through all these things, I still feel like, you know, the trauma's still there. Triggers are still there. And I just feel like Will had a moment where, you know, he had to face a reality of maybe his past coming into his future. You know what I mean? And then of 1000%. Course his wife, you know what I mean? Like, that's his queen, you know, he's going to protect her. And I mean, I do feel bad for Chris, you know what I mean? Cause I mean, I can, you know, I could definitely see how, you know, that could be traumatizing to him, you know, to be able to get slapped. But let's also talk about the point that he didn't even react to Will. Like, he took it. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't get violent with him. Now, I know some people are like, well, I think that's crazy. But at the end of the day, I think that, you know, as people always try to put Black men to say that Black men are violent, this man didn't even do anything. He actually kept the show going. So I think, I definitely commend him, for being able to push through and say, hey, I'm not going to let this situation, allow me to, to like
step
pull
out
me
my
out
character.
of myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, like, I'm not taking anybody's side. I think for me, I'm looking at the situation to say there's two sides to every story. And I think that, we need to really examine the situation as a whole versus taking, just taking I mean, like, people do stuff all the time, you know what I mean? And
they do.
I just, honey, live your life. Mind your business.
Your life.
Like Tabitha say, mind your business.
And mind your business.
That part. So I agree in a lot of what you said. I definitely had said, and there's so many layers to it. So what I will say is that I'm just tired of people like overdoing it. Like, y'all were overdoing it like this with Woody Allen. Y'all were overdoing it like this with Harvey Weinstein, and a lot of those other people that, but it gets deeper, and not to like go long-winded, but it's just like, I get it. It was a night where, a lot of Black royalty was being represented, but it's not that deep, as I feel like the world is carrying it out. And, they had announced that Will Smith has resigned from the Academy. And I will just say, I don't fault him for that. I don't wrong him for that, because he has given us such an extensive catalog of movies, and the fact that in 2022, this is when he's first getting an Oscar is wild to me. So just based off the kind of person I am, I'm like, bruh, like, my people speak for me. We champion him. We love him. And
yeah, me too.
So
people make mistakes.
He doesn't need an Oscar.
He doesn't need an Oscar to define him
to us, right? And even with Samuel L. Jackson, like, I was like, do you know the body of work that Samuel Jackson has given us? Y'all had the nerve to give this man his first award in 2022? Nah, like, y'all are playing.
I mean, okay. I mean, I'm sorry.
There's so much politics in it.
Well, there's so much more to say about the situation, because Jada was the person who said that she felt like the Oscars should be boycotted because she didn't feel like there were enough, recognition to the Black, actors, and the people who were in the Academy, you know what I mean? Like, who actually deserve to be able to receive awards. So this is the same woman who, and I do definitely feel like Jada definitely felt attacked by Chris's statement, and other people had said before that whenever Jada had first made the statement about the boycott, they said that Chris kind of laughed at her.
Yeah, he was going in.
That. Right. So I mean, I think that there's so many more layers, like Will resigning. I mean, number one, I feel like Will really took the punch. Like, even though he gave it, he definitely took it. You know what I mean?
He's
because
taking it
this man has given accountability for his behavior. He's given accountability for his actions, and he decided to resign. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to do that. You know what I mean? And I feel like at the end of the day, regardless if Will slaps whoever or whatever the situation, I feel like we're still going to have respect for Will because of, you know what I'm saying? Like, just everybody makes mistakes. I feel like everybody deserves a second chance. You know what I mean?
1,000%.
But I also feel like we also just have to be aware of, we got to be aware of the things that we say. We have to be aware of the things that we do. And we have to understand how those things affect people.
Yes.
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yes, I agree. And that's the perfect way to, I think, end Fruit Salad for this week. We gave you guys woman, inspiration, motivation. We recapped, some of the Grammy Award season. And for someone like me that, I fell off of these awards because of all just this and period. So the fact that I guess it worked for y'all, even though y'all trying to tear down our Black man, here we are still talking about your program, despite how you guys have not given us credentials. And Black people make stuff lit. Let's just period. So, we get the ratings up, we get the interest going, and then the world follows. But they don't really want to speak or highlight about that part. So I will say to our Black people and our celebs and stuff, like, it's difficult because there's this pressure a lot of the times, I feel like, to be perfect. And I feel like the real answer is just to be perfectly you. Not saying violence is condone all those things, but be true to yourself, kind of like how we speak on Monique. And even though she didn't get the results she wanted right at first, when you stand in your truth,
eventually somebody spoke out for her.
the real
You
will
know what I
always
mean?
prevail.
Yeah. And let's also give it up for the fact that Tyler Perry and Denzel Washington, intervened in the situation, and really stepped up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
two strong, very, prominent, successful Black men, who stood up for their brother in that moment. And I think that that's also something to be highlighted. The situation that happened between Will and Chris, but let's talk about the progress that we've seen in our community, because most of the time we don't really see that strong force come back. And, in that sense, of course, we're going to see the negative aspects of people say this, people say that. And even though it happened, I feel like it really could have been drawn out way deeper. And I mean, let's also talk about the fact that Chris, LAPD tried to get Chris to press charges and he didn't even do that. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's so many
between us. Yeah.
There's so many different layers to really look at the situation. And of course, social media, other people who are involved or watching the situation, everybody's going to have their opinion on it. But I think sometimes with me, I'm a very observant person. I like to sit back and actually really look at the situation for what it is, to be able to see what's really going on. Again, like I said, there's two sides to every story. So I think that there's some back issues or there's 1,000%. Some things that we don't really know about. But again, let's give it up for the progress, with seeing, like seeing our brothers, like, instead of, because again, Chris could have been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna press charges. And that's something that has been happening in the Black community since slavery. Oh yeah, him.
Yes.
And I think at the end of the day, that's what we need to magnify. Even though there was an issue that happened, how was that situation resolved? You have 2 men who, lifted him up, who actually corrected him. And then you have another man who had the opportunity to be able to pinpoint and be like, no, you going to jail. And he didn't even do that. He took it like a pro. He took the slap like a pro and said he doesn't really know how to process it. So at the end of the day, I think what my biggest takeaway of what I want to get people during this week is, how can you progress in a situation instead of looking at it from a negative aspect, things that are happening in the world, things that are going on in your life. How can you take this situation, this adversity, and make it an opportunity? Because at the end of the day, it's not about what you go through, but it's about how you handle it. And at that token, I just want to say, do what you need to do for you. Do what's best for you. I think out of every conversation that we had today, I think the biggest thing that has come up is about being true to yourself. You know what I mean? Like not being concerned with the likes and the loves and what people say, or what people may want to make you feel, but it's about what you feel in that moment. And as we've seen people like Monique, who was basically scrutinized for her opinion, but at the end of the day, she came back and there was somebody who vouched for her. So at the end of the day, be true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Do what you need to do to progress in your lane, and the rest will follow.
1,000%. I love that, Nima, aka Miss Sky, because that's it right there. A lot of people can act perfectly when everything's going perfectly, but let's see how you move when the temperature gets hot. Let's see how you move when the pressure is really on you, or maybe you did mess up in a way. How are you going to bounce back from that? And I feel like those are moments of adversity that really show who's real, who's not, who has a certain, type of character and who doesn't, you know what I mean? Who's going to point the finger, who's going to take accountability. So I really do love that. And I feel like that's the best way to end this week's episode. Like, what else can we say? Despite everything that happens in life, we're never always going to be perfect. And anybody that says that, you're lying to yourself. There's a difference between, being confident in yourself and feeling like you're perfect. And I feel like no one is perfect, but you can be perfectly you. And it is life to me is like a situation by situation type of thing. All of us, there's no handbook to it. All of us are going through it in our own way, growing through it, in our own way. And it's important for us to just remain true to ourselves and also take skills that are helpful and build that to become better individuals or have a better human experience in life. But I don't need to tear down someone else to make myself look better.
Amen.
Yeah. Was there any last words you want to say before we ended out this week? I feel like that was amazing.
Be true to yourself. Stay in your lane. And the rest will follow.
Eat fruit and mind your business.
Well, guys, this has been another amazing episode and conversation with Queen Miss Sky. And I really hope you guys enjoyed it because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, she came with the things, she came prepared, she came with the topics, the opinions, and we want to know what y'all think. Make sure you're following this queen. Could you give everyone your handles where to follow you and support you at all the things?
Yes. So my personal handle is at NEEMASKYE, Nima Sky, and my show is at ALLTALK. No, I'm sorry. All That Talk, which is ALLTHATTALKNS. I'm sorry, y'all. Listen, got a little spelling bee going on here. So basically, it's All That.
We'll have it all written in the description for you all.
There we go.
Yes. And I want to thank you, Queen, for just coming and being your authentic self. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I love having authentic conversations. And I feel like we definitely ate fruit and minded our business the best we could.
Yes, ma'am.
Eat fruit and mind your business.
You heard our words of encouragement for this week. I want to thank you guys again for all your support. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'm your girl, Kay.
I'm Nima Sky.
And I hope y'all have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week.
Peace.